Hello, our dear viewers. Um, we are so sorry about the technical problem that we had to get around, uh, but we thank you as well very much for keeping around and making sure that we are back online together. Thank you very much, and we are so happy for that. From Planex Aquaculture, I am Xavier Peter. Some of the key concepts we have already been learning how as far as aquaculture is concerned, and I hope you can always expect from us. And as the saying goes, we are always reaching out to the international standards. Today in studio, I will welcome say hi to our dear viewers.
Yeah, to all our dear viewers, good afternoon, and we are really sorry about the glitches. Yeah, just sit and get hold of that coffee or bottle of water, and we get started into this thrilling uh, journey of aquaculture. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, sir. Today we shall be discussing from the start where aquaculture starts from. So for people who have literally a fair knowledge about aquaculture, we shall be expounding on that knowledge that you already have to build on it and give you more value about what aquaculture is. And that is our topic and theme for the month. So we shall be introducing aquaculture to you. And in simple terms, we shall be discussing the fundamentals of aquaculture or fish farming. And with the respect of time, let me allow my colleague to carry. Oh no, before that, I would like to encourage you, please, our dear viewers, to subscribe to the channel because we shall be having this online training is running every month, and in case there is need for us to teach you about a certain topic which is so vital in aquaculture, we can always get around time and make specific videos about a certain topic from which you have interest. When you can subscribe, and in case you have questions along the way, you feel free to use the chat box on working with them, and as well as any inquiries our viewpoints and Isaac, can please take on from here.
Thank you very much, Peter. Like you've made the introduction, my name is Isaac Chamzi, aquaculture scientist who works with Planex Aquaculture. And today we are going to talk about briefly aquaculture impediments for people to start. What are those things that interest people to start? And then, if someone starts, what are those core things that they should do to see that they succeed in aquaculture? Behind me is that let me take the program today. We are going to discuss Planex. Then we are going to have an introduction to what this is aquaculture. What is aquaculture? Why do we need it? And why should we even basic steps? It does not just come as a culture. There are things involved in it. There are things that we have to do for it to come out as a success. So those are some of the things that we shall discuss. Then of course we shall dive into the factors that affect aquaculture. Then of course wherever there is fire, there is water, we shall also look at the challenges involved in this thing called aquaculture. And since our jurisdiction is mostly in East Africa, we will still discuss aquaculture in East Africa, where we shall see how much fish does Uganda eat, how much fish does Kenya or Rwanda eat right now, and then how much more they need to eat. In conclusion, we shall also have some questions and answers for you, our dear viewers. But like dear Peter said, please keep the questions coming, and of course, subscribe and like our page for the day. Yeah, so Planex started way back in 2009, and we've been making agriculture productive. Only that, our specification had run from agriculture, that is arable farming, into designation, where we have Planex for arable farmers, where we have Planex for animal, and then of course this one specifically is Planex aquaculture. Like I said, we've been making agriculture productive since that time, and we pride in these values. One is global excellence. We believe that whatever we do in Africa should reach other regions. So we believe that a fish that is grown in Africa, a fish is grown in Uganda, in your ponds at home, should yield the same quality and value as the fish grown in some nice city in the world. Say, another thing is joy. Our other value is joy. Yes, we can. I will bring it this way. There is no way you can be sad without with fish around. So if you ever visit Planex Aquaculture and then you did not see happy faces around, then probably you walked into a wrong door or a wrong place, or you probably a wrong day. And that's the day we work. But we really pride in the joy that comes with the work we do, because our work is to put the smiles on people's faces. We also pride on the planet. It's very evident for us to think that what our forefathers left us, we should send our grandkids ahead, or even better. So we pride in whatever we do, we should be in find a better place, better than what our forefathers left us. We also pride in partnerships. For example, our number one partner is Stadium Animal Nutrition, like you can see behind, and it is the number one feed producer owned nutrition company in the world, with its headquarters in the US. So, however, that is not our number one partner or our sole partner. We have various partners in which you are part of the partner. You do not have customers, you do not have clients. You are our number one partner. Or everyone involved in aquaculture is a partner of Planex Aquaculture. Then we also pride in innovation. I have taken time to really break this down, because it is important that you, our dear viewers, need to know who we are and who we partner with and what we stand for. So, innovation always finds solutions that are tailored for specific problems. That is why we labor so much. For example, health desks where we have coaching, that we try something of innovation every day. We have to think outside the box on a daily, such that we move with the trends in the world. Planex Aquaculture in specificity. Our purpose is clear. We employ ourselves to empower farmers in Africa to make aquaculture productive and sustainable, so that Africa can feed the world with responsibly healthy fish that is of course farming. So this is what we stand for, and this is the reason we are around, and the purpose we serve. Yeah, not forgetting that Planex is here to help you farm your fish, but not just farming in a responsible manner, in a very clear way, in a very modest way, and that harnesses science and technology. Some of the products we offer, like I said earlier, we are partnering with this, and that's the name Aqua Feeds. That is a world-renowned feed producer, specifically for fish, and I will not dive deeper, but we are doing specifically two products, one from Vietnam and the other from Brazil. that is say as also same from Brazil. The commonest name that is known or the household name is usually Laguna, and that's when you speak about Laguna, people will know and that these are the guys or these are the people. The other new people on the block is Cialis, Feeds, and Nanolis for the starter feed, but that this one specifically comes from Vietnam. There is no change in quality. The quality is the same. What changes is the name because of the location. And then other services we offer is that we have. I think for the first time in Uganda or East Africa, we are running an aquaculture support center where we are here to educate, inspire, and of course support farmers throughout East Africa and Uganda in specificity. For farmers to bring in their problems and to solve them so that we can at times innovate and share with you. We do research that helps farmers. Some of the other things we do, we carry out, we have a help desk for farmers calling and we provide solutions. Like I said, they are tailored for your specific problem. Whatever you come with, we solve specifically. Then the other thing we do, we have trainings like this online and then physical at our aquaculture support center. Then we also have coaching, one-on-one coaching, and to make matters worse, all these services that we offer are free of charge. So feel free to always come through and we learn something new. We move with the trend in aquaculture. Introduction to aquaculture. Here we are going to see what aquaculture is, why we need it, and why it's thriving. It takes me back to the date that I will the year 1990, where the world population was around 5.3 billion people, and apparently it is close to 2030, so to speak, 7 years too. So, and we are trying, we are just shy away by a few digits, but right now the world stands at around 8.6 billion people. This is an increment of around 3.3 billion people globally. This is around 3.6. These growing numbers need to feed them. Which better way to feed these numbers with them? But he did it. He served 5,000 almost so people fish. He did not choose pork. He did not choose any other kind of, but he specifically chose fish. And it is because of the reasons that we are about to see. Fish farming is just the growing. Fish farming is just the growing culture of both plants and animals. Like we are seeing on our slide, we can be farming plants, we can farm mollusks or other capture fisheries are dwindling by the day. We are seeing them lowering in terms of production or catches. And then we are seeing this is not something in the wild. It is also very compelling for us to say that in the past 2 years, and fish farming or aquaculture has contributed close to the same amount of fish, that is 50% of the fish that is eaten or that is consumed is sourced from aquaculture. This does not things that propel it or things that have driven this. For example, technologies, for example, the global population growing, that is what I have been talking about in the previous slide. If our population has grown by 3.3 billion people, that means you cannot have the same kind of production. So we can look at, if we go back in say 1990, our production was around 13 million tons. This means it could feed that population then. However, right now, where people, are changing their consumption style, people are now eating healthy, it does not stand at that. People have to innovate and grow. That is why we are seeing it standing at over 82 million tons right now.
aquaculture production, like I said, is not only growing because of the numbers, but also the culture that people have right now. And it does not come just because of the fish that Jesus fed. No, it's coming out because of the reason that we have on our screen right now. Why is that growth? What is driving it? Let me start from the right-hand side, where we are seeing the cost of animal protein. Animal protein, where we stay around here, we are seeing pork at around 30,000 a kilo, 30,000 Ugandan shillings a kilo. And then if you verse it with, or you compare it with fish, you realize it is around 12,000 shillings a kilo. This speaks volumes. Imagine having the best meal, healthy meal, cheaper. I'm not against people who have pork or who eat chicken or eat the other, but for the price given and the health benefits associated with it, I would gladly implore us all to start eating fish, because why not? Then if you look at the right, it gives you reason why you should. Look at the nutrition, omega-3, which is very vital for brain development. Look at the iodine that is so rich in fish, being there for neurodevelopment. We have seen people getting strokes and unable to do whatever. So it is very vital that we eat fish. It is very important that we eat the fish around. Also, vitamin D, it is for the pregnant women. Even in medicine, we find that there are those tablets that are rather fetal development, and of course the mother themselves. Of course, zinc is for children development. It has a lot to do. That's why that is part of the thing that is driving fish growth or fish farming as a whole. And there are various forms of aquaculture, or types of aquaculture. And to take us back to the introduction, this specific presentation was designed for people who cannot or want to know what it is. This is why we are here, and I will give you these forms of aquaculture as a solution for you to know why or which types favor you. One, the first type is for us all Ugandans to do, because we have the fresh water from our taps at home, from our rivers, from the lakes that border us, and then from the streams in our neighborhood. So it is important that we understand what it is. Freshwater culture, just like I said, it is fresh water. This is water that you can drink. This is water that you can associate with. Oh, this is water that is in the inland, and it is only us, Uganda, for example, who can reach fully, because for us we do not have the oceans, we do not have seas to associate with. So this is specifically what we are doing as Ugandans. The other thing is, the other type is mariculture. Like you can hear, it is marine culture, growing fish in marine areas, waters with salt that are salty or brackish. This is usually used at estuaries in rivers pouring into oceans, or in oceans themselves, or seas, for example the Red Sea, or whichever sea it is, as long as it is a salty environment, that is where mariculture happens. Then we have the third one that probably is complemented by the other two, and that is aquaponics. This is a new development in the world, and of course, like we looked at the population growing. However, we have resources that are not growing. We have land that is not dry, that we do not have solution. No. People have harnessed or honed skills of growing fish and plants. So this is aquaponics, just refers to growing plants and animals or fish together. And all those types discussed in the previous slide do not happen without these steps that are in our current slide. We are seeing brood stock, eggs, hatching, larvae. That is just the process, all the steps of fish farming. Some people choose to specialize in, say, brood stock management and hatcheries. Others choose to do market for fish. Others choose to grow the fish itself. So this is how it is. These are the steps you have, just like parents, a woman and a man marry, so do fish. The fish gets the female, the female lays eggs, the male fish fertilizes it. Then after them hatching, they of course these are mouth brooders. I do not want to go deeper into the science now because we have very, very interesting bits coming in our next presentation of training. So a female fish, but I'll talk about this briefly and probably you wonder how it does it. It gets the fertilized eggs into its mouth and broods them. And then these fish, or these eggs, or rather these eggs will hatch into larvae, which of course is also a bit protected by the mother in the mouth. Then consequently them growing into fry and fingerlings. That is where you stock them, where you get them to stock them in your ponds, in your cages, or in your other systems as you may require. Then from there you look at the juveniles. At this stage, you realize as we move from slide to slide that these stages require different kind of approaches. They require different kind of management, they require different kind of feed, and the water quality required is also different, as we shall be specific here. We should hinge our focus on the stages. You have the starter stage, which is usually the eggs to the fry, that is starter. Then you have the juvenile stage, and then you have the adulthood stage. And then, of course, from there we are not growing them to anything, but either for us to eat or to continue the process. So at this point where they are adults, you pick out the best, and then you continue. You let them into the next system to produce more fish, and then you sell. Us knowing the stages involved, you know, you're a man, you get a woman, you produce pigs, those pigs don't produce food, whatever, apart from eating them, but that is kind of the same kind of steps. We get to know what are those factors that hinder or that propel aquaculture for it to succeed. So these are the factors, and they are just a palm. You just hold your hands wherever you are and know that you have to know these 5 things if you want to succeed in aquaculture. Number 1, know your fish. Which species it is, which type it is, and which features does it have. Know it explicitly for you to succeed. If you are going to grow fish and then you do not know, if I don't know but I just put in water, you do not know which fish you have, then you are not bound to succeed. I'm sorry. And then number 2 is the culture system. Know where or which culture system or which system you are going to use to grow your fish. Culture system just means where you are going to grow your fish. For example, we have various culture systems to mention by the few, but I have ponds, you have cages, as we shall discuss them to detail later. You have cages, you have raceways, you have grass. All those culture systems, you have to understand it fully before you spending your money into growing your fish in such a system that you do not understand. Please take time to understand it. Number 3, which is very crucial and takes usually 70% your production cycle, that is feed. Know what feed to feed at what stage of fish. Know the nutritional composition required by your fish at different stages, and then know the size of the feed that is fed to your fish in various stages. This does not come in isolation with you knowing the pricing of your feed, and then what implication does it have for you to feed otherwise. So it is important that you understand all that information. And in the few minutes from now, we shall get to a nibble of all this. Then understand the water quality. The water, this is the trick. The water that you cannot drink, you should not grow your fish there. If you cannot drink that water, or you cannot boil it to drink it, please do not grow your fish there. That is easy. Or if you do not know the oxygen in that water, you do not know the pH, you do not know the temperature in that water, it is very eminent that you first hold and then understand it before you dive deeper, or you dive into stock of your fish in such a water. The other most interesting bit which I tell farmers or most people is management is the thread that holds all the other four together. You could have good fish strains, you could have good culture systems, you have the best feed, then the best water quality, and then you have a poor manager at that. They do not know what to do, they do not know how to get all the other components together. You are also destined for failure. However, have a good manager that can harness or can complement all these other four things together, then you are destined for success. At this point in time, let me invite my brothers, Sylvia Peter, to take us through these 5 factors in detail, so that I would want us, by the time we live, we know why we need to know these things and why we need to start fish farming. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Isaac. From right at this point, I will be taking you through some of the key factors that we always have to consider while we are carrying on aquaculture or fish farming. And specifically, I will go into depth and explain different culture systems. I will as well talk about what you consider to choose a certain species of fish over the other. And as well, I will talk about the effectiveness of choosing the right feed and how it can be impactful towards the success of your fish farming business. To start with, the most commonly cultured fish species that we have in Uganda, specifically East Africa and Africa at large, we normally culture tilapia and catfish. But as well, some people do carps, but it's not at a very large scale, because most of the people right now are basically doing tilapia and catfish farming. And in the next slides, we shall be able to break down some of the key reasons or some of the advantages that have been affiliated with tilapia and catfish for them to be the most commonly cultured species in Uganda or East Africa at large. In this image that you're seeing right displayed in front of you, that is tilapia in water. Then right here we also have an image of tilapia. Then I talked about some of the key factors that are normally considered before choosing a certain kind of fish to culture at your farm. It is very important because different kinds of fish have different traits that make them advantaged to perform well towards the success of your fish farming business. To break it down, as you start your farm, you should do some market research and know the kind of fish you have market for. You shouldn't produce fish and fail to have market, or produce fish which has little demand, and in the end you may not be able to get what you needed at the beginning. Tilapia will be preferred as a culture species because it has high resistance towards disease. Tilapia rarely catches disease. Then it also has high reproduction rate. For a specific time, tilapia can be able to lay tremendous number for you to carry on with your business as you culture a fish. Then it is also easy to feed. By it being easy to feed, different capability, it has relatively high growth rates. I don't expect someone to culture Nile tilapia for over a year, maybe unless something is going on wrong at your farm. But as long as you're doing proper management of your farm, you chose the right site for stationing of your farm, I don't expect Nile tilapia to go many months without attaining market size. Then it is so obvious that Nile tilapia has ready market, and as we do fish farming, we always want to have a final product which will be having high demand for us to sell off and get back our money, and maybe you can reimburse this money to the business and it grows on and on and on. Then we also have catfish. The image before you is the image of catfish. Catfish also has its advantages which may not be very much different from Nile tilapia, but specifically catfish is also ideal for culture in Uganda, East Africa, and Africa at large. And even in outside countries, some people do catfish farming. And among the key factors that always make catfish farming ideal and suitable are these. We always want to feed our fish and see our fish growing. So that, if I can call it, the process under which we feed a certain amount of feed to our fish and we see it grow, or converting that amount of feed into fresh, we can simply technically call it the feed conversion ratio. So catfish has good feed conversion ratio, whereby for a certain amount of feed that you provide for your catfish, it will be able to convert it into fresh, and that is in the first place what we need as farmers. Then catfish is also good at surviving. It is able to survive under, let's say you're transferring fish and it happens to fall down and it's exposed to the outside environment, the atmosphere, whereby it's not into water. Catfish has a mechanism by which it can be able to survive an organ which is called, for example, you can do catfish and tilapia in the same culture unit. So this is a bit more flexible for farmers who are starting up, which boosts its market and demand. Then it is also high on protein content as compared to lipid content, which is its protein content. And we have certain factors that we have to put into consideration as we are diving into pond culture systems, because as you start to work, so these are the fry that you're gonna culture being of uniform size. So such factors should always be in your mind. Then as well, make sure that you source good quality feed. For example, at Planex we have good quality feed type that is good for your fish. And in case you have any queries about such sources, this one is a simple structure of what I would expect a pond farm to look like, where we have some offices, we have stores, we have nursery ponds, we have grow-out ponds. Then as well we have canals through which and channels through which we have supply of water at the farm and waste, or different what one fish farm would look like. Then we also have some advantages and disadvantages. We have the fact that the operation costs will be low as compared to maybe catfish farming or any other kind of farming. Then we don't expect you to have problems with price and other challenges. As long as you have constructed your ponds and designed them very well, as I said before, you make sure that you reach out to experts in this kind of business to have properly constructed ponds at your pond site. Then repair and building of these ponds want to require material which you cannot easily lay your hands on. You can use locally available material to construct ponds and design them. So pond culture systems aid anyone to reuse the effluent from the culture units, which can either be used for irrigation or retained somewhere and again reused. In the start, you may have challenges with buying enough land for you to start your pond fish farm, because it may require some good amount of land, but with resilience and determination, you can be able to get over this. Then capital costs may as well be high at the beginning, but I can assure you that along the way, you will really say that it was really worth it. As long as you then construction may as well require experts. Some experts may charge you relatively high. That's why I recommended reaching out to certain people to guide you, such that you won't fall victim of such circumstances. Then ponds may as well remove our ponds, and over time it may affect our productivity. So we always have to make sure that we remove such organic compound before we start a new cycle. But with recommendation, I can say maybe in a period of like 2 years, you can do this slugging, which may be a bit exhausting, but it's worth it. As well, you may have mosquito issues, because as you know, mosquitoes also breed in ponds. They also take advantage of our units to do their breeding. So you may have such issues at your farm. Let's say you have your home nearby. Then ponds are also liable to certain changes in temperatures which are associated with the climate. And then now let us talk about cages. Cage culture also has certain legal requirements for you to get started. The reason is simple. A cage fish farm may have relatively high impacts on the environment, so it is very important for you to seek this fish farming. You should have a cage fish farm. Then also you should have in mind that you should have quality commercial fish feed, because you shouldn't use poor quality feed. It won't obviously work on a cage fish farm. So always prepare to have constant supply of good quality feed at your farm. Construction and production costs should also be in your mind before you get started. Then as well, make you fall into losses. Then you should ensure that the quantity of water in which you're going to install your pond, your cage can well. This cage always be space. You shouldn't let your cage. A simple recommendation should go beyond 5 meters deep, but not as well too deep, because it shouldn't as well exceed 20 meters. So then it also allows for your use of the water or other impactful to the environment, as long as you do proper management and proper site selection. I wouldn't expect it to have a disaster to do intensive production whereby you can do high stocking densities. It is a lot of fish, but in a small volume of a cage. As long as you do proper management, this is so possible. Then you should also is always ideal. For example, if I can compare it to production of tilapia in a pond. In ponds, always the quantity of produce good quality. Then among the challenges that you may be encountered with, when not properly managed, cage fish farms may have huge impacts on the environment, which is obviously not good for us fish. Then we may as well have costs. The reason is simple. We are using power running your farm. Maintenance costs of the system may as well be relatively high, and you as well need highly trained staff to be able to run.
How is it sucked out of water? How is it all these dynamics? If oxygen is out, what do we do? If there is too much oxygen, what do I do? Because also what's funny is if you have a lot of oxygen in your system, is also a problem. there are diseases, there are complications that are associated to having low oxygen in your system, or rather high oxygen. Your fish might die because they have a lot of oxygen in their system. So all this should be known by someone managing. That's why I said it is important. Also, keep records, water quality records, such that you can easily tailor those solutions for the problem. For example, you find mortalities on your water. Your first question should always be, what is the water quality? And then you cannot know what the water quality is if you do not take stock of your records. If you do not record what your water quality is. For example, every morning before feeding, take record of what the DO is, that is dissolved oxygen, take record of what the pH is, and then take record of what the temperature is. Those are the key three parameters that we need to look out for, because they highly affect fish. For example, fish, if the DO is low, your fish will not eat well. If the oxygen, rather, or the temperature is also low, your fish will also not eat. And then, if your pH is also high or too low, your fish will not eat. Usually, the oxygen we require is around 6 milligrams per liter, and fish can always survive in a temperature between 27 to 32 degrees Celsius in water. So all these factors, if you are managing a farm, you need to understand, you need to know really well. Then for pH, you cannot grow your fish in acidic conditions or alkaline conditions. You need a neutral kind of environment. Of course, also this cuts across in different species, but usually the best is, of course, a 7, which is hard to attain. So between a 6 to 7.2, 7.3 is very okay for your tilapia fish or catfish. It is also important to take corrective actions as needed. So if, for example, you are operating in ponds, and then you realize that you have low oxygen, what next? What do you do? Do you go back home to sleep? Do you say, let them suffer, or something like that? You need to find corrective measures for such problems. And in this case, for example, if you find that your pH is too low, do some flushing of the pond. You find that your oxygen is too low, please do some bit of aeration. If you do not have automated ones, if you do not have standard ones, do some manual or mechanical aeration. So what some farmers do is swim through their ponds to aerate them. If it helps and you do not stress your fish, do it. So all these corrective measures you need to understand. And you cannot understand these things if you're not learning, if you do not have the best information as to why you're doing it. Number 2, the main key thing in production management is stocking, like I said. And this also stems from knowing your fish. You should know how much fish to stock, how do you select quality seed, from who are you getting your seed. And of course, you have to keep keen to record keeping. It is very important that if you are going to stock, for example, your pond A, you should know that I'm stocking pond A with the seed I got from farmer B or farmer C or farmer A, whatever. So, such that you keep track of how their genetics works or how their growth are. At times you could think the fish, my fish is not growing. Probably it is because of the source of the feed. Yet it is your water quality. At other times it could be that you have proper water quality, you have good feed, but then your strain or your feed source, rather your seed source was not really proper. That is why you need to understand all these dynamics into stocking. Then you should understand the stocking densities. Why do I need to have a specific number of fish in a certain culture system? Why do I need this number of fish or this number of biomass stocked in this size of pond, this size of cage, in this size of whichever system you choose to use? It is important that You understand why you need all that before you get into fish farming. Usually if you overstock, there are problems associated with it. And if you understock still, there are associated problems to it. For example, if you understock, then your fish will grow, but you will have less biomass. If you understock still, your fish might not grow however much you feed them because they have plenty of room, plenty of space to play. Yeah? So you need to understand all these dynamics. Which sex am I stocking at this time? If you are stocking male fish, what is the bias rate? How much do I expect to find females? Because all that matters. You should not stock fish that are mixed, where females are with males. Otherwise, they will resort to reproduction and then forget about growth. And then, as a farmer, you do not need them to reproduce because it does not help you. It just increases your failure rate, so to speak. If you have fish stocked and then they are just reproducing, meaning the biomass is increasing within the system, and then at any point it will crash. So you need to understand all these before you get into fish farming. Number 3 is the feed. You need to know what is the composition per stage. What feed size do I need per stage? What time do I feed? When should I not feed? When should I feed and why? All this is important because if you find that probably water quality is low or you have, say, a higher temperature at one point, you would probably cut your feed. If you find out that your temperature is too low, probably you should not feed because the fish are inactive. Whichever feed you feed into the system, your fish will not eat. And this gets back to you. Like I always tell farmers, or whichever person who intends to do aquaculture, that whatever you put into the pond, or whatever you think is stocked, for example, from the seed you stock, from the feed, from the labor, all that is your money. So whichever mistake you make, you're consuming your own profit or your own money. So it is important that you get hold of knowledge first. You get hold of the concepts and why certain things are done the way they are done before you proceed into fish farming. It is very important also that you keep records here. You keep feeding logs, you keep proper calculations for every system. Ensure that your feed availability is there. Your fish should not starve at one point because once they starve, they start eating on their flesh. They start eating on themselves to sustain their life, of course. So that means that you are eating your own capital in a way. So it is important that you understand all these factors, all these dynamics within the management and production. Then the fourth one is maintenance. Check all the production units. Know that excuse me for that. Sorry for that. Our next point was maintenance. It is important that you check the production units. Are they repaired? Do they need any kind of maintenance? Or you get into your system. For example, you have a loop where they can come in. It is also not very advisable because they can probably, if you have a cage and then you let in Nile perch in, you realize it will consume or it will eat your stock, and then you will be losing out as a farmer. So it is really important that whatever you do or whatever you try to do or whatever you are doing, your management is akin. That's why in my starting remarks, I said it is the thread. Management is the thread that holds aquaculture together. If you have a poor manager, if you yourself are a poor manager, you will not reap from aquaculture, because it starts with you. It starts with the knowledge you get. It starts with the reason why things are done. So, at this point, it is important that we know that our management is top-notch. It takes me to the next slide, which explains it even better. It is better for us to know that once you have proper production management, that is, if you can produce good fish, it does not end at that. For you to have a successful fish farm, you need to have all this into play. You need to be able, one, to produce the fish. That is number one, and it is a guarantee. But it is not a guarantee that it is a guarantee that you will have good stock, but it is not a guarantee that you will make money out of it. So you also have to hone a skill of running a fish farm as a business. What do I mean? Take hold of the records. How much do I feed in? How much do I feed out? It is important at this point that probably you read our blog on productivity and profitability such that you understand what is required, what makes money, what makes sense, and what does not make sense. So it is important as a farmer to get all these two married together. It's important that you understand fish farming as a business fully, not just as anything that is done for survival or anything, but treat it as a business. The same way you stock clothes in your boutique, the same way you stock merchandise in your shops, so should you treat a farm. You should at one point know how much stock you have in your cage. You should know how much mortality has died. You should know how much has feed have I used, how much do I pay for labor, and everything should be known at this point. So it brings me to the point of after you know or producing your fish in a very sustainable way, you know how to run it as a business. Now you know the culture systems, you know the fish really well. Why are you doing this? Why are you doing fish farming? Yeah? And it is simple. There are mainly three reasons as why we are doing fish farming. And they are categorized into nutritional benefits, economic benefits, and then environmental benefits. Excuse me. Nutritional benefits, like in our introduction, I hinted on the various importances of fish farming and why it is growing really in a robust manner. It is growing because of the nutritional values. But also it is not just that. There is a lot behind the nutrition that we talk about every day that we do not see. What you see is you eat your fish and then you go to sleep, you eat your fish, you go to play. But there are components within that fish that we do not find mostly in other protein sources. For example, fish is, I think, mostly rich in feed or with omega-3 and its associated advantages. So fish has omega-3, which we discussed. Those are the fatty acids, which we discussed in the start. And then fish also has a plenty of iodine that is helpful in our neurodevelopment. That is the nerves. That's why very many people get strokes and get paralyzed or paralysis. It is because probably they're not eating enough fish. If you enjoy fish or you go to probably landing sites, such people have no such diseases like paralysis or anything like that. So fish is a very important meal in terms of nutrition. Have a lot of iron for both the children and then the mothers, most especially pregnant mothers. It is very important. We all know the importance of iron. Iron is important in blood formation. So mothers or children require a lot of blood in moments of growth. So it is important that we feed them with fish very much. This helps them to grow. Then this also helps the fetus to grow really well. So the other bit is economic benefits. This cuts across from individual to organizations and then to governments. Individuals get profits. If you start a fish farm, you of course know your life will change because you are going to get a profit after it all. But also you are going to employ people. Very many youths right now are battling a disease of unemployment. How about you start a fish farm and you employ a great deal of the youths that who of course are the leaders of tomorrow and are our foundation tomorrow. So it is important that we start fish farms knowing the economic benefits that are hinged. Probably they could not come at you directly, but they are societal. They are helping the society at the end of it all. So the government gets revenue from this. I think that right now fish, if I'm not mistaken, serves Uganda as the third or fourth most important foreign earner. So if you look at Nile perch, you look at tilapia, these are not the smallest things these are not things you would imagine, but the fish is basically managing our economy as a country. So it is really important that behind you farming fish, you should know the core importance of it running the economy of a country. We have roads because of fish, we have good hospitals because of it, and probably then we do not have them because you're not involving yourself into aquaculture. So it is important that you understand this. Then it is also, there are also environmental benefits in there. Like Sylvia Peter explained later, it lowers pressure on the available resources. For example, if you do not engage into aquaculture and you do not farm fish, you realize that people will start overfishing, including fishing younglings or young fish. This means that we do not have a future, or our future is not guaranteed, because if you start eating the young fish today, then you do not have the fish for tomorrow. However, if you have aquaculture into play, it will salvage the situation. Also, proper resource usage. If you have resources there, for example, lakes, you have water, stream waters that are not put to use, all these resources are just getting wasted over time without them giving you what is required. So you can use the water to feed the world. You can use water for transport. You can use water for all those for all the importances named here. But it should not also end at that. Knowing that you have fish for nutrition, knowing that you have fish for economic changes. People are growing rich because of fish, knowing that you're growing fish because of the environment. There are also other challenges involved in you attaining all these benefits, and these include insufficient capital. We do not have enough capital for structures, for cages. Yes, it is a very intensive kind of industry. So this is one of the impediments for us to thrive fully into aquaculture. But I have good news for you. There are elementary kind of systems that you can start with. For example, aquaponics, fish, and then probably cabbage or lettuce in your backyard. So aside it being a challenge, it is also something, it is an eye-opener for us all that are reading or that are aiming at trying fish farming. Also, another impediment or another challenge is the infrastructure. In terms of the cages, we do not have these things around. Or even when we look at our roads, even if we started a fish farm in a very remote area, you do not have access to proper roads to transport your fish to the market. Also, you do not have probably cooling facilities in those areas to keep your fish extend its shelf life. All these are impediments, all these are challenges. However, this should not buy you from starting a fish farm. We have seen very many people doing this, and of course the government is also not seated. They have various avenues they are trying to help farmers. The other challenge that we should also look at, and before even airing it out, I'm happy to say that Planex, of course, Planex Aquaculture has come up with a solution for this last one. We have the best fish in East Africa, that is Laguna and Osialis. Then we are also doing these initiatives of technical support in form of trainings like this one, in form of help desks, in form of writing blogs and sharing with new farmers, so that you read and then get knowledge. You read and enrich yourselves. You read and get yourselves better before you start or before you hit the snag into the industry. Excuse me. After us knowing the challenges, the benefits, and of course the other factors involved in aquaculture, how about we dive into aquaculture in East Africa? How is it? What is its state right now? How is aquaculture in Uganda? How is aquaculture in Burundi? How is aquaculture in Rwanda? I think this will give you a motivation in a way to start or to hold back and like, why should I engage in this something called aquaculture? When you look at our map, you realize that Uganda mostly concentrates its aquaculture around Lake Victoria and then Choga, and then of course Albert. Look at Kenya, they have of course access to the sea, so there is some bit of mariculture. I think that is a reminder for us as we started the presentation. There is some bit of mariculture in Tanzania, and of course there are other forms of farming in the mainland, where of course that is probably freshwater aquaculture. We have looked at the steps of aquaculture, but then we did not explore deeper what the aquaculture value chain looks like. And this is it. You start by brooding, or in a hatchery where you brood your fish, that you get it ready for stocking. Then, and that is hatcheries. Then you grow it, of course, by feeding it to the nursery level into a fry or a fingerling, which you then stock in grow out either ponds, raceways, cages, or whatever you wish to do, wherever you wish to stock them. Then after, you take to different markets. Those that buy from the farms on farm, there are those that have shops, there are those that take to markets. All different markets are explored. Then, of course, the end person here is the end consumer. You yourself, whichever person eats fish out there, you are part of the aquaculture value chain. How does aquaculture look in Uganda? If you look deeply, or if you look really well onto our slide, you realize Uganda consumes, of course, most of the fish it grows. We have the highest per capita consumption of fish in East Africa, and it stands at around 11.3 kilograms. Then followed, of course, by Rwanda, which is doing around 7.6 kilograms. Then we have Tanzania doing around 6.8 kilograms, and of course Kenya, shockingly, coming at around 4.8 kilograms or 4 kilograms. Per capita consumption means how much fish does each person eat in a year. The recommended figure is around 22 kilograms per year. So whichever person or wherever you are right now, reflect on this. how much fish do you eat as an individual per year, vis-a-vis how much is recommended. Then you also use this very information to understand what deficit does the country have to cover in order to fit into the global recommended consumption rate or per capita consumption. Like I said, we are doing 11.3%, and then the recommended is around 22 kilograms. So wherever you are, you can do the math and tell yourself how badly you're doing or how well you're doing. If you're consuming fish over 20 kgs or 25 kilograms, then probably you are the right person to listen to this. Means you really understand. But also, if you are consuming less than what is recommended or than what Uganda even is doing, then you are also still the best person to listen to this. Why? Because it will push you to start a fish farm, it will push you to start eating fish, it will push you to encourage others to start fish farming or start eating fish. So, before I leave this slide, I'm imploring us all to also look at the populations of each country. It is important to know that this is how we stand now, but it is not how we are going to stand, say, in the near 10 years from now. All these countries probably will multiply by 2 or something. You will realize that if we do not double in population, Uganda is the fastest growing country in the world, and of course the youngest population in the world. So it means we have a room for growth, we have a room to grow, we have a room to engage in all these entrepreneurial skills, and we have a room with East Africa. If you look at all these numbers, we have the best water in the world, we have the best environment, and we have the most political will in the region to start with. So I implore us all to start fish farming, looking at all those values. And why invest now? I had these 10 questions for us all these 10 points for us all. Why should you engage or why should you invest right now? Some of the points we hinted on. Of course, one is to exploit the growing fish demand. Growth in population culminates into demand of food, and of course the best food to be demanded is the fish because it is the healthiest meal. Also, you need to bridge the supply gap. Like I said, our resources are finite. They are not growing, yet the population is growing. We have lakes that have fish, but they are not growing because they have been overfished. How about we start fish farming and then cover that gap or bridge the gap? The other thing is benefit from the favorite climate. We have the best climate in the world, we have the best water, like I've hinted on this. Why not take advantage of it? Take advantage of the political climate that is favorable. Like I also hinted on that. We are in a stable region. Why not start fish farming and help Planex realize its dream of feeding Africa with sustainably healthy fish that is farmed. Also, as we complete or as we wind up, take time to read deeply into this, why you need to invest. Promote environmental sustainability. We've talked about this deeply. We've talked about it extensively, how aquaculture is helping shape the environment. How? Embrace the technological advancements. We have talked about that in terms of speed and productivity. There are lots of technologies that have come on board which we need to explore. If you need to see this, please take time to visit a fish farm. Go out there, make research, come to Planex, we have all these answers ready for you. Then lastly, make a positive impact on food security and development. Of course, this is also in the SDG goals. So you need to start fish farming as early as yesterday. At this point, I would like to thank you. And if there is any question around or questions, they are welcome. I think I can invite back my brother, Xavier Peter, and we check out the questions together and probably call it a training. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for such a wonderful presentation. I hope it has really been
so. To all our viewers out there, I hope the presentation has touched your soul, your body and mind to start fish farming. I hope if you have any questions, it is very important that you leave it in the comment section in our YouTube channel, or you can also call us on our contacts that we shall release or usher to you later on as we close, so that you get deeper and you get a deeper understanding of why you need to start fish farming, on why you should not do fish farming. Also, it is also important because you might think, you remember last time when we had a person who wanted to start fish farming in a drum. Yeah. So all these modalities can be discussed here at Planex Aquaculture.
Yeah. Thank you very much again, and great gratitude goes to you, our dear viewers. You have really been patient with us, and we are so happy, and we wish to have you next time. And in case of any questions, as he has said, you keep them coming through. We have a website, you can always check it out. We have contacts to which you can reach out to us, and we shall always be ready to help you out. Our main goal is to make sure that you, our #1 partners, develop, and we see how we can really feed Africa and the whole world at large. Thank you very much.
I think if at this point we have some questions from the audience, do we?
Well, someone was asking, someone reached out to me through my personal platform and wanted to know what would be the basic factors that we should have in mind in order to start fish farming. I hope my colleague Isaac can briefly talk about it. And again, it has been the core of our main discussion today. So, sir, what do you have to say about it?
Yeah, it is very interesting and it is very engaging that this was the basis of our presentation today. I wanted people to understand. And then the easiest way to do this is by looking at your palm. Yeah. Know there are 5 things. Number 1 is know your fish. Number 2 is know your water quality. Number 3 is know the culture system that you're going to use. Number 4, know your feed. Then number 5, know your management or know your things really well. This number 5 is what brings all the other 4 together. If you do not have, if you have good fish, then you have, of course, good fish strain. If you have good feed quality, if you have good water quality, if you have if you construct this structure really well, but you do not have a good manager for all those 4, you might not succeed. So it is important that all these are linked together for you to succeed as a farmer. For more information, you can visit our website, and we have a full blog on that, or a full text on that. Then you can also come to our warehouse or to our offices. In fact, our aquaculture support center in Namangwe, visit us. We have all the solutions hidden for you.
Okay, thank you. And I hope my colleague has been answered fully well, and you are as well free to go through this presentation because it will remain online. You can always access it and go through it for in case you have missed out on any key concept that you are interested in learning as far as introduction to aquaculture is concerned. Then as well, a kind reminder, if you have not yet subscribed to our channel, please take advantage of this time to subscribe such that next time when we are having such a session, you don't miss out. And make sure that you as well hit the notification bell such that in case of any updates on our channel, you can always have them. And as well, if you have any suggestions about key concepts that you literally have less knowledge about in aquaculture, you can always send a message to us such that we focus on those parts and see how we can add value to you. We don't always want to be dictators as far as in bringing to you a topic as if it's coming from heaven. We want your suggestions as well such that they can be considered and we give you the real value that you truly require of us. Well, I think that will be all for today. Until we meet next time, stay well and make sure not to miss out for the next online training.
Thank you, and I hope you start a fish farm.
Yeah, yes.